Hi everyone, my name is Marissa Nally and I'm the Director of Programs and Operations at the Algae Foundation. You're going to be seeing my face and hearing my voice a lot this week, so I wanted to introduce myself. I want to welcome you to the Algae Academy. We've got a great week planned for you and I can't wait for you to learn lots and lots about algae.
So what are we doing this week anyway? This week we will get to know what algae are, what they can do, and what they look like under the microscope. You will also get to watch some algae grow while you collect measurements to track their growth. Alright, so let's start at the beginning. Algae 101. Let's do this. What is algae anyway? Are they animals? Are they plants? Algae are simple plants with no true root stems or leaves. Algae fall into two large groups. The first is microalgae. These algae are very tiny and are only visible with the help of a microscope. Most of the microalgae are unicellular, or just a single cell. But when conditions are just right, algae can bloom and become so numerous that this bloom of microscopic organisms can be seen from space. The second group is macroalgae. Like the name suggests, these organisms are large and you can see them with the naked eye. Think kelp or seaweed. These organisms are mostly multicellular, like terrestrial plants, and can grow over 300 feet tall. That is like a 21-story building. Almost all algae, both micro and macro, are photoautotrophs. Photoautotrophs? To better understand that, let's break it down. Photo means light, and autotroph is something that makes its own energy. So photoautotrophs use light energy to make their own energy in the form of sugar. This process is called photosynthesis. During photosynthesis, algae will fix carbon by absorbing inorganic or non-living CO2 and turn it into organic carbon, or living carbon, or in our case, more algae cells. Here is a photo of algae using scanning electron microscopy, or SEM. Look at the beautiful structures these microscopic algae can form. So, what does algae need to survive? I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. Remember, algae are photoautotrophic, so we know they need sunlight. They also need water, just like all living things do. Algae are aquatic, so water is very important. They also need important nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus. As we know, algae make their own energy by fixing atmospheric carbon dioxide, so CO2 is a must as well. Apart from their core needs, the life of an algae is greatly influenced by its environment. Temperature can alter the way algae is growing, either speeding it up or slowing it down. Sunlight levels or solar intensity also play a role in algae's growth. Too little or too much can greatly reduce their growth. Same with the pH of the water. Algae certainly have a Goldilocks zone. You know, when something is just right. And once they are out of that, they start to get stressed. The life of an algae is not easy. There are numerous predators that love to eat them, and there are so many different types of algae in the same environment competing for the same resources of sunlight, nutrients, and CO2. So what's going on here, besides this turtle just being super cute? Alright, look at the turtle. There is algae growing on the top of its head, shell, and tail. Why do you think that is? This algae is called Basicladia. Why would it evolve to grow on a turtle's head and shell? Well, turtles are cold-blooded, meaning they have to find external heat sources to warm their bodies. Sunlight is a good source of heat, and algae need sunlight. So these algae hitch a ride to a turtle shell to make sure they always get some sun. Okay, but are algae really that important? Yes, they are. Algae are primary producers, meaning they make oxygen for us to breathe. In fact, algae contribute over 50% of the oxygen we have on Earth. Algae are also a staple of the aquatic food web. Everything you see on this image, from lobsters, anemones, and dolphins, depend on algae. Remove algae from this food web, and the entire system falls apart. But as the climate changes and ocean temperatures rise, algal communities are changing too, and this could have significant impacts on the overall food web. We're off to a great start, and it's clear that algae is pretty great. But you don't just have to take my word for it. Let's hear from SpongeBob and Plankton. You can trust them. Click the video that's provided in the link, and let's dig deeper.